Welcome to the Creative People series presented by Pineapple Gallery. I'm Audrey Shear, and I'll be your curator. Our guest today is Birdie Gibbs. Birdie is a multi-award-winning photographer who has been passionate about photography since 1978. She spent several years practicing every single day. She worked as a registered critical care nurse, but now that she's retired, she's able to spend her time traveling and taking photographs. Welcome, Birdie.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here today.
Good to be here.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Okay.
Tell us first how you became interested in photography. Can you describe that moment when you just knew photography was what you needed to do?
I don't know if there was any one particular moment. I'd always loved photography because when I grew up, we didn't have magazines or many books in the house, but we got National Geographic and the photographs. I mean, I was always the first one to the mailbox when it was due because I loved the National Geographic photographs. And so I've always liked photographs, but never had a chance to do anything with it. But after I was married, had 2 kids, my husband bought me my first 35 millimeter Nikon and enrolled me in a college in Photography 101. And so I was hooked after that.
So it wasn't anything particular in the class that happened because you were already
I was excited to learn how to use it, and I wanted to be able to take pictures of the kids as they grew up.
And is that how you started? Is that what you did?
And that's how I started. I took pictures of the kids from the time they were probably, I think, maybe 7 and 9.
Boy, their parents are lucky.
And so that's what I did. And whenever we traveled or took vacation, lots of vacation pictures.
Which photographers or other type of artists have most influenced you? What is it you most admire about their work, and how did it influence your way of thinking?
Probably the first photographer that I really appreciated was Ansel Adams, which that's what everybody says. But his pictures were just so awe-inspiring, and I loved the bigness of them and how they portrayed big spaces so dramatically. I liked his style. I think he was probably the first photographer that I ever recognized as a photographer that I really liked.
And he obviously influenced you. You went off to photograph big open spaces, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did. That's one of my favorite things to photograph. Is I like landscapes. I love to do seascapes. I live at the beach now, so I do a lot of seascapes. But I like the big spaces.
And birds also equally?
And birds.
You had to say your favorite?
Birds is kind of like my kids now. My kids are all grown and gone. My grandkids live 1,000 miles away and 2,000 miles away, so I'm left with birds. So I take pictures of birds.
And you had all that practice with
Yes.
your kids. So you capture the personality of the birds, yes?
I like the personality of the birds. I like to capture their uniqueness. I like to capture them doing funny things. I like to capture their personality. Just a bird on a stick is one thing, but I'm after something a little bit more than that.
So it was exactly like photographing your kids.
Yes, because I always liked the moments that were unexpected.
Yes, capturing those special moments.
Mm-hmm.
Describe for us your process, including what questions you ask before you push the button.
Okay, the first thing I ask myself is, I usually visualize what I want my final picture to look like, but what I have to decide before I do that is, where is that picture going to live? Is it going to live on my hard drive, and I'm going to look at it once in a while on the screen? Is it going to go to social media where everybody sees a little 4-inch picture, and then they look at it for 2 seconds and then it's gone? Or is it going to be used in a contest? Or is it going to be a sofa picture?
So it really is
so
its final
big.
destination that you have in mind.
Yeah, it has to be, because your whole composition and where your subject is makes a difference. If it's going to be a little 4-inch picture, your subject has to be very large because it's such a small space. But if it's going to be a sofa picture, say a 60-inch picture, then your subject can be much smaller.
Okay, that
Like
makes sense.
this picture would not show up at all in Instagram.
So tell
or
us
in
about the
social
process.
media.
You've asked yourself where it's going to go.
So then you have to compose, and you have to decide what your picture is going to look like in the end. So you compose it in camera, snap 100 pictures or however many it's going to take you if it's a bird, to make sure you get the right gesture or the right look.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a landscape, probably 5 or 10 to make sure your depth of field is right and your focus is right and all that sort of thing. And then you take it and you look at it on screen on the computer and develop it, because I shoot in RAW, which just simply means it's undeveloped. So when I put it on my computer, it's like a negative. It's like it's not developed. So I can basically see what it is, but the lighting isn't right, the colors aren't right, and the contrast isn't right. I have to fix all that. And then once I get it developed, then I decide, do I want to go a little further with this? Do I want it to have an artistic look? Do I want it to, be lighter, a little darker, or whatever? And you just keep playing with it.
So you have a lot of room from your original to the end.
Yes.
But how would you, in general, how close is your final product to your original scene in general? I guess you change on each different
It depends on where the final destination is for my pictures. On Instagram and for the birds, it's pretty close. Usually. I don't usually manipulate those too much. If it's a sofa picture, it's going to be manipulated more, because I like it to be a little softer and a little bit more abstract, maybe. But everybody's vision is different, and so a lot of times I try really hard to make my picture look like what I saw when I snapped the picture.
You want to
at least what I visualized.
Okay.
When I snapped the picture.
So you want to capture that moment as the moment was
to
you.
As the moment was to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what takes one of your photographs from picture to art?
This is actually just a photograph. This is actually, that was just developed. There's no artistic anything to that one. That's just developed.
And yet it's a piece of art.
It's a piece of art because God gave us this tremendous view. I mean, look at those clouds and look at that. That's just the way it was.
Right.
And that's what I saw when I took that picture. So I didn't have to manipulate that. I just developed my picture.
That's amazing with those colors.
And
so you, as an artist, found the art.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I didn't create that art.
Okay.
God created that art.
But you had the vision to find that spot and take that in that moment.
Right. I saw the colors coming, and I thought, I got to get it.
Did you have to take a lot for this?
I probably took a lot because this is about 20 minutes after sunset, and I started at sunset. So I took pictures.
At least
for
20 minutes worth.
20 minutes worth.
And then you picked the one that you thought was the
and
most.
And then I waited and got the ones where the colors were the most intense.
You picked the piece of art.
I picked
it. You took it.
I picked it. And then another one may take a lot more processing. If I want to turn something into a painting more like this, then I put it into another program and actually create a painting with it. And that's another whole process.
A photograph that you're calling a painting because it has a more of a painterly look.
Right, right.
And people do walk up and wonder.
And they say, "No, this looks like a painting."
Yes, which is exactly what you wanted.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So that's another step in the process. If I want to take something to that.
And you soften it, change the colors a little, things like that.
I soften the edges, add some brush strokes, and I play with it I just call it digital magic. I mean, it's all done digitally.
Good name.
but it's just,
But this one you took something beautiful and then you created a
right,
completely different a painting.
something completely different.
Okay. You have a rule you've made with yourself regarding how many prints you'll have made of any one photograph. In other words, they're limited edition.
Right.
What is your rule? What is your limit? And why did you decide that for your works?
Because my works are not like what you would buy at Hobby Lobby or Walmart, and those are pictures. A lot of them are beautiful, but they're everywhere. And so, if I am going to take the time to create something unique, then it's not going to be special unless it's limited. I mean, if everybody has one, it's no longer special.
Right.
So I just limit it.
Is it a different? You change this limit.
It's different, kind of depending on the photograph. If it's something really really unique that I know I've never seen anywhere, I might limit it to 20.
Wow.
And that includes prints and
cards and everything else. Wow, that's a very limited edition.
Most of it is a little bit more.
And I think people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Knowing that they have a unique unique piece of art. Yeah. So this piece called Festival of Lights is fabulous on metal. Mm-hmm. Some of your works are on metal. This one's on metal. This is metal. This is canvas. This one's canvas, but some are on acrylic, and some are on wood, and some are on paper. How do you make that decision? How did you decide?
It depends on I think metals are really good if your colors are real vibrant, because metal, when you print on metal, you can print at a much higher resolution, and so everything is a lot crisper and clearer, and your colors are just much more vibrant. Canvas is a little more subdued, and it's beautiful, but it's appropriate for a lot of homes. Mm-hmm. Metal is something that will stand out. It's more contemporary. Mm-hmm. The reason I like metal in Florida is because metal is, you just can't hurt it. Humidity doesn't hurt it. You can't scratch it. It's not going to warp. It's not going to fade.
And it's surprisingly light.
And it's very lightweight. It's very durable. That should look like that in 100 years.
That's amazing. Then you would think you could hurt it, but I guess you just get a fingerprint on it.
You just get a fingerprint on it, and you have to wipe it off. The one thing about metal is that it is very reflective. So if you're in a room that has a lot of windows, it is very reflective. And that's most homes have a lot of windows, and that's why canvas is good for homes. A lot of homes, because it's not reflective. It's softer.
Okay. But
it still can show color good.
What about this scene in St. Augustine made you take this photograph?
This is during the Christmas season, during Festival of Lights. It was taken in January, probably around January the 10th, and it was very cold. And my husband and my granddaughter were all bundled up in blankets, and I was sitting out there on the front of the boat, hanging on to the one of the posts on the boat so that I could hold as still as I could. And the scene just unfolded. The sunset was just amazing that night, and it was just a beautiful scene. And I probably shot, I don't know, 500 pictures that night.
So you were working.
I was working. I didn't have a clue if any of them would turn out because I was on a moving boat and it was pretty dark. And if you know photography at all, you know that my shutter speed was 1/20th of a second, and it was handheld.
Wow!
So it's a little tough, but
and it's as crisp as can be.
It is. It turned out I was amazed.
How manipulated is this? Because it was sunset, and the sky can look like that. So I don't know how.
It is. The colors were enhanced. They were not changed.
Okay.
The colors were enhanced a little bit, but it was not changed. The only thing that I did do to this that's different is I changed the temperature of all of the lights. because there's so much yellow in this. All the lights were yellow, but in reality, the lights in St. Augustine are all white.
Oh.
So I changed the color temperature of the lights
Oh.
to make them white.
And show up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whether people are familiar with St. Augustine or not, when they come in the gallery, we get tourists, they're just drawn to this photograph. They really enjoy this photograph. They just walk right up to it. I haven't seen a person yet come in the gallery and not walk up and check out this photograph.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they love it. They love it. Oh, okay. So this photograph, I'm going to bring up another one, called Pineapple, won first in the photographic art category at the Flagler County Art League. I don't know if it's even this one, photograph, Pineapple, won first place in the photographic art category, the Flagler County Art League. What do you particularly like about this photograph? What makes it special? I really wanted to know you.
It was taken in my garden.
Oh, really?
It was taken in my garden. And it is a very small pineapple. It's actually about 5 inches tall. It's an ornamental pineapple. It's still on the plant here. And I like the lines, I like the shape, I like the geometry. It just drew me. But I didn't like it in color because it was even more vibrant than that. It was very red and yellow, and I just wanted it to look softer and a little more artistic, so I did do a little bit more magic with this one.
Yes, you did. And you took something you wouldn't think of doing out of
Yeah.
color. So you completely created this black and white pineapple.
But it shows the shape and the form and the lines
As opposed to the
as
color.
opposed to the color.
And that's kind of rare for you, right?
It's rare. This is actually the first one I had ever done. And I just kind of entered it on a whim, and I was absolutely shocked.
That's great. That's great. Fantastic.
As a matter of fact, this was entered in the same contest.
Really?
It was, and it didn't even get a mention.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Because I wonder if you
Yeah.
just asked people who came in what they would choose, they would be choosing that one because they love it. So your unique work is currently sold exclusively through Pineapple Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to say. Tell us how you work with people who've come into the gallery and see your photographs to create a commissioned piece of work for them.
Occasionally people will come in and they'll see a piece they like and they'll want a different size.
Mm-hmm.
A very specific size to go over a bed or on a certain wall or whatever, and sometimes they want a specific color.
Just a color?
I had a lady come in and she says, but my bedroom is like teal and orange, and I need a beach scene that will go with that. And so I thought, and I remembered in my archives that I had a beach scene where it was one of those nights where the color was peachy instead of turquoise. And so I showed it to her, and I said, as soon as I showed it to her, she said, that's it. That's the one that will go. And so then she ordered a specific size. Another time I had a lady come to my house that was interested in 3 bird pictures that I had. And she wanted something for her bedroom to go over her king-size bed, a fairly large piece. And so I showed her, I just turned my computer on and I showed her, I says, tell me what you like and what colors you have. And she said it was basically white and gray. So I said, do you want color or do you not want color? And her husband said, I want a beach scene. And I said, okay. So I pulled up one that I really, really liked. And he said, I like that one. And his wife hemmed and hawed a little bit, and she says, I'm a cloud person, and I really just like the clouds. So I thought, So I cut the bottom of it off and just had the clouds. And I said, is this what you're talking about? And she said, yes, that's what I want.
Wow.
And her husband didn't agree. It took him about 2 months to decide. And they went back and forth, and she finally called me up and she says, I'm ready to do it. He'll love it. I know he will. But I can work with different, if you see something you like, but want a different size or even a different medium, if you would want this in a room that goes with a lot of windows and you want it in canvas, I can do that. Or I like doing birds sometimes on wood.
Yeah.
Looks a little more organic.
Mm-hmm. So, Birdie, what has been one of your most memorable photographic adventures?
I would have to say a birding trip to Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
That was that went with my sister. That was probably my most memorable photographic journey.
Because
where I actually went somewhere to take pictures.
Because of the variety of birds?
The variety of birds, and unfortunately, the second day my camera broke.
Oh, no.
And after numerous phone calls to Nikon and to anyway, it could not be fixed. But I had taken a second camera with me and was able to still capture some pictures, just not the ones I wanted. But it was okay. There were I just have to go back now.
Yeah, it sounds like it. With three cameras, I don't know.
No, two cameras is plenty, but it taught me that if I go to take pictures, you have to have a backup camera and lens.
Yeah, thank goodness you had that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. So how has photography influenced you as a person, and how has being a photographer changed the way you view the world?
I think I always look for the beauty in everything. I mean, that's just kind of the way I am. I like to photograph beautiful things. Some people like to photograph old cars. Some people like to photograph old falling down buildings. I like to capture beauty in wherever I am, and that's what speaks to me. That's what makes me happy, and that's what I look for. And so I think I have become much more aware of the details in nature, and I see those things. But that's probably the biggest change. Plus, I do now carry my camera with me everywhere I go.
Because you never know.
Because you never know. That's right.
And are you always? So you're always looking. Are you just seeing the beauty? Are you always looking for a shot? Or you just have your camera in case?
Sometimes I don't know if I would say I'm always looking for the shot. Sometimes I just want to capture the moment, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be the most spectacular, the most beautiful. If it was a moment that's very special, I like to capture it because that's in my memories. That's how I remember. I can go back in my digital file and know exactly what date I was in Costa Rica, or exactly what date we went to Niagara Falls, or just simply because it's there. And so I don't have to file that up here.
Yes. And you stopped, and you looked, and you captured the moment.
Right.
You can go back and visit your moment anytime you want.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Okay, this is my last question for you.
Okay.
What is the most fulfilling part for you about being an artist?
The most fulfilling part is probably when other people see the beauty as well.
I wondered if it was the sharing part.
It's the sharing. You don't. If I see it, it makes me happy. But if I share it, and it makes somebody else happy, or it makes somebody else sees it, then that's twice as good.
Yeah.
So it's sharing it and having other people see the beauty and appreciate the beauty. That's the most fulfilling thing.
Your job as an artist. Well done. Well done. Well, so thank you so much, Birdie.
Well,
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to tell everyone to remember that art is great for the heart, the brain, and the soul. Aloha.